हेलो फ्रेंड्स। तो इंडिया फिजिकल एनवायरनमेंट एनसीईआरटी टेक्स्ट बुक इन जियोग्राफी फॉर क्लास 11, इस बुक को हम स्टडी करेंगे। चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। तो हियर these are the chapters. First unit introduction, that is India location. Physiography, under physiography unit 2, structure and physiography, then drainage system, all about India, right? Climate, natural vegetation, soils, and then natural hazards and disasters. So there are 7 chapters in total and 102 pages. So let us I will try to complete this entire book in one video, but I don't know ki I have enough storage space in my mobile phone or not, so it can be stopped in the middle. So no issue about that, just start, and if it is stopped we will divide it into 2 parts. That's it. So let's start. And our focused exam is EMRS, Eklavya Model Residential School. Okay, so let's start. You have already seen the map of India in the previous classes. Now you closely examine the map of India. Mark the southernmost and northernmost latitudes and the easternmost and westernmost longitudes. Okay, so the mainland of India extends from Kashmir in the north to Kanyakumari in the south and Arunachal Pradesh in the east to Gujarat in the west. These are some very basic things, right? India's territorial limit further extends towards the sea up to 12 nautical miles. So this is very important information. India's territorial limit extends towards the sea up to 12 nautical miles. That is about 12 nautical is equal to 21.9 kilometer, right? So 12 nautical is equal to 21.9 kilometer from the coast. Here you can see the statute miles conversion दिया हुआ है. So statute miles is equal to 63,360 inch. Nautical mile is equal to 72,960 inch. Okay, not needed. One statute mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer. So 1 mile is equal to basically 1.6 kilometer, and 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.8 kilometer. So statute mile से nautical mile is the more. That's why we are using nautical mile in case of sea, okay, oceans. And 1 statute mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer, okay, and 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.8 kilometer. So there is a difference between 0.2 kilometer. Okay, so remember this, statute mile and nautical mile. 1 statute mile is equal to 1.8 kilometer. Sorry, 1 statute mile is equal to 1.6 kilometer, and 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.8 kilometer. Our southern boundary extends up to 6 degree 45 minute north latitude in the Bay of Bengal. Let us try to analyze the implications of having such a vast longitudinal and latitudinal extent. If you work out the latitudinal and longitudinal extent of India, they are roughly about 30 degrees, whereas the actual distance measured from north to south extremity is 3,214 kilometer. Okay, so our latitudinal and longitudinal extent is about 30 degree, and the distance between north and south is 3,214 kilometer, and the distance between east and west is 2,933 kilometer. Okay, so our east-west distance is lesser than the north-south distance, or extent east-west extent is lesser than the north-south extent. What is the reasons for this difference? Consult chapter 3 on the topic latitude, longitude and time in the book Practical Work in Geography Part 1. Okay, we are not going to that, so just read it. Okay, this difference is based on the fact that the distinct distance between two longitudes decreases towards the poles, whereas the distance between two latitudes remains the same everywhere. But you know what is the relation between this here distance? Because our east to west extent is more, that's the distance. Don't know here what about the relation with that in terms of with the latitudes and longitude distance, don't know. Okay, so this difference is based on fact that distance between two longitudes decreases towards the poles, whereas the distance between two latitudes remains the same everywhere. Okay, basically I did not find it relatable at all here. Find out the distance between two latitudes. From the values of latitude, it is understood that the southern part of the country lies within the tropics and the northern part lies in the subtropical zone or the warm temperate zone. Okay, so remember this, our northern part lies in subtropical zone or warm temperate zone, whereas our southern part lies in the tropics. It is tropical zone. This location is responsible for large variations in landforms, climate, soil types, and natural vegetation in the country. Okay, now let us observe the longitudinal extent and its implications on the Indian people. From the values of longitude, it is quite discernible that there is a variation of nearly 30 degrees, which cause a time difference of nearly 2 hours between the easternmost and the westernmost parts of our country. Definitely, because there is a time difference of 4 minutes for 1 degree longitude, right? You are familiar with the concept of Indian Standard Time. What is the use of standard meridian? While the sun rises in the northeastern states about 2 hours earlier as compared to Jaisalmer, the watches in Dibrugarh, Imphal in the east and Jaisalmer, Bhopal or Chennai in the other parts of India show the same time. Why does this happen? So these are very basic things you know already, right? Okay, read this box. There is a general understanding among the countries of the world to select the standard meridian in multiples of 7 degree 30 minutes of longitude. So this remember this कि countries multiply their meridian in multiples of 7 degree 30 minutes. That is why 82 degree and 30 minute east has been selected as the standard meridian of India. Indian Standard Time is ahead of Greenwich Mean Time by 5 hours and 30 minutes. There are some countries where there are more than one standard meridian due to their vast east to west extent. For example, the USA has 7 time zones. I think France has the largest number of time zones, and that is 13. So remember this कि 7 degree and 30 minute longitudes, our standard meridians are multiple of 7 degree 30 minutes of longitude, right? And you can divide this 82 degree and 30 minute by 7 degree and 30 minute. But what will be the result? Quotient. Do comment below if you got time, right? Okay, so next move to the next part. Let's see. So here NCERT, one thing is best here, it is the maps, right? These maps are even far better than the maps given in our Atlas book, right? We bought it for 400 rupees by 400 rupees, but those maps are just irrelevant informations are given, I will say, rather, because we don't need those informations, those small names of the places, right? We need the major portions like this. Okay, so NCERT is better. You will see a mining map. I recently uploaded a video today, just shared. There is a mining map, the minerals are found over the India. So there is just an index. Here we find iron ore, here we find bauxite. What is the use of that? Because there is no labeling of the name of the place. So it is not useful, because in the exam they will ask about this place is famous for which mineral. And if I can't tell that from that map, so that map is of no use, right? Because information is easily available on Google. Who needs information? No one needs information. We need such materials that will help in our exams, to crack that exam, to pass that exam. So that thing we need, right? Okay, let's move to the next part. So here it is a good map also, you can see. By the way, this book is downloaded from Drishti IAS, and that's why the quality is quite low of the maps. But if you download directly from the NCERT website, and you will get a high quality map. The maps are more clear. The words are here okay, but maps are quite hazy here. I think the size of the PDF got reduced. Okay, name a few places in India through which the standard meridian passes. So this is very important, over which places the standard meridian of India passes. So find it out, okay, and do comment in the comment section. India, with its area of 3.28 million square km, accounts for 2.4% of the world's land surface area and stands as the 7th largest country in the world. Find out the names of the countries which are larger than India. This is also an important assignment, right? So India area is 2.4% of the world's landmass, and the country's rank is 7th. We got this information from here. Okay, size. The size of India has endowed her with great physical diversity Thus, you may appreciate the presence of lofty mountains in the north, large rivers which is Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Krishna, Godavari, and Kaveri, green forested hills in northeast and south India, and the vast sandy expanse of Marusthali. You may further appreciate that bounded by the Himalayas in the north, Hindu Kush and Suleiman ranges in the northwest, Purvachal hills in the northeast, and by the large expanse of the Indian Ocean in the south. It forms a great geographical entity known as the Indian subcontinent. It includes the countries Pakistan, Nepal, and Bhutan, Bangladesh, and India. That is, Indian subcontinent is not only India. Okay, it includes, when we are saying Indian subcontinent, it actually includes Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and India. The Himalayas, together with other ranges, have acted as a formidable physical barrier in the past. Except for a few mountain passes such as Khyber, the Bolan, the Sipkila, the Nathula, the Bomdila, etc., it was difficult to cross it. It has contributed towards the evolving of a unique regional identity of the Indian subcontinent. By referring to the physical map of India, you can now describe the physical variations which you would come across while traveling from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Jaisalmer to Rajasthan to Imphal to in Manipur. Peninsular part of India extends towards the Indian Ocean. This has provided the country with a coastline of 6,100 km in the mainland and 7,517 km in the entire geographical coast. So remember this information कि our coastline area is 6,100 km in mainland, and if we consider the islands also, then it will become 7,517 km. Okay, mainland plus the island groups Andaman and Nicobar Island, Bay of Bengal in Bay of Bengal, and Lakshadweep in Arabian Sea. Thus, India as a country is physically diverse and providing occurrence of varied resources. India and its neighbors. Examine the location map of India. You will notice that India is located in the south central part of the continent of Asia, bordering the Indian Ocean and its two arms extending in the form of Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. This maritime location of peninsular India has provided links to its neighboring regions through the sea and air routes. Prepare a list of India's neighboring countries by consulting the map. Sri Lanka and Maldives are the two island countries located in the Indian Ocean, which are our neighbors. Sri Lanka is separated from India by the Gulf of Mannar and Palk Strait. So remember this information. Sri Lanka is separated from India by Gulf of Mannar and the Palk Strait. Okay, now here it is a question: differentiate between Gulf and the Strait. So do you think that physical barrier is a hindrance in interaction with our neighboring countries in the modern times? Give some examples how we have overcome these difficulties in the present day. So you can say that you can see that the book is quite interactive, not interactive but full of brainstorm questions, you can say, and definitely you have to consult other sources as well to complete this chapter. I mean to get prepared for the EMRS exam. Okay, so we'll consider it later, and I am just going through the text of this book. So okay, so moving to the next chapter, that is chapter number 2, and let's see what is that. That is the physiography. So first thing, structure and physiography, chapter 2. Do you know that our earth also has a history? The earth and its landforms that we see today have evolved over a very long time. Recently I downloaded some PDFs on a topic, I don't remember that exactly, and I compared the NIOS material, NIOS, and the NCERT material. Okay, so NIOS material was far better and updated than the NCERT. Okay, so definitely I will try to cover the NIOS books as well as soon as we complete the NCERT book. So चैनल के साथ जुड़े रहेगा, सब्सक्राइब करके रखिएगा और मेरे को सपोर्ट करते रहिए, मेरे साथ चलते रहिए. आई होप कि आपका एग्ज़ाम क्लियर हो जाएगा ये हमारे इसका. अब जाके देखते हैं क्या होता है. चलो, डू यू नो दैट आवर अर्थ ऑल्सो हैज ए हिस्ट्री? डेफिनेटली everyone has history. The earth and its landforms that we see today have evolved over a very long time. Current estimation shows that the earth is approximately 460 million years old. Okay, remember this, ki earth is about 460 million years old. Over these long years, it has undergone many changes brought about primarily by the endogenic and exogenic forces. These forces have played a significant role in giving shape to various surface and subsurface features of the earth. You have already studied about the plate tectonics and the movement of the earth's plates in the book Fundamentals of Physical Geography. Do you know that the Indian plate was to the south of the equator millions of years ago? Do you also know that it was much larger in size and the Australian plate was a part of it? Over millions of years, this plate broke into many parts and the Australian plate moved towards the southeastern direction and the Indian plate to the north. Can you map different phases in the movement of the Indian plate? This northward movement of the Indian plate is still continuing and it has significant consequences on the physical environment of the Indian subcontinent. Can you name some important consequences of the northward movement of the Indian plate? It is primarily through the interplay of the endogenetic and exogenetic forces and lateral movements of the plates that the present geological structure and geomorphologic processes active in the Indian subcontinent came into existence. Based on the variations in its geologic structure and formation, India can be divided into three geological divisions. So I think these dramatic descriptions, introductions are just uninteresting in today's scenario, right? When we have animations and all, no one thinks about these things, so just useless. Okay, so these geological regions broadly follow the based on variation geological structure and formation, India can be divided into three geological divisions. So these geological regions broadly follow the physical features. Okay, the peninsular block, the Himalayas and the other peninsular mountains, Indo-Gangetic, Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra plain. So these are main three block or three physiographic divisions of India, that is peninsular block, the Himalayas and other peninsular mountains, Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra plain. Now the peninsular block. So read one by one. The northern boundary of the peninsular block may be taken as an irregular line running from Kutch along the western flank of the Aravalli range near Delhi and then roughly parallel to the Yamuna and the Ganga as far as the Rajmahal Hills and the Ganga Delta. So peninsular block, you can see the extent of this, the northern boundary of the peninsular block. Imagine, or you can open your atlas book as well. Block may be taken, definitely there is no such demarcation in your atlas book that cost you 400 rupees. It's better ki you print the NCERT maps, that's better, much better. The northern boundary of the peninsular block may be taken as an irregular line running from Kutch along the western flank of the Aravalli range near Delhi and then roughly parallel to the Yamuna and the Ganga as far as the Rajmahal Hills and the Ganga Delta. Apart from these, the Karbi Anglong and the Meghalaya Plateau in the northeast and Rajasthan in the west are also extensions of this block. Okay, let's read it again. The northern boundary of the peninsular block may be taken as an irregular line running from Kutch. So basically starting from the Kutch along the western flank of the Aravalli range near the Delhi near Delhi Aravalli range से start होता है and then roughly parallel to the Jamuna and the Ganga river as far as the Rajmahal Hills and the Ganga Delta. Apart from these, the Karbi Anglong and the Meghalaya Plateau in the northeast and Rajasthan in the west are also extensions of this block. The northeastern parts are separated by the Malda fault in West Bengal, or Malda Gap is also known as also Malda Gap. Okay, from the Chhotanagpur Plateau in Rajasthan, the desert and other desert-like features overlay this block. In Rajasthan, the desert and other desert-like features overlay this block. Okay, that means it is not visible. Actually, this plateau area is not visible. There is desert has covered it. The peninsula is formed essentially by a great complex of very ancient gneisses and granites, which constitutes a major part of it. Since the Cambrian period, the peninsula has been standing like a rigid block, with the exception of some of its western coast which is submerged beneath the sea, and some other parts changed due to tectonic activity without affecting the original basement. As a part of the Indo-Australian plate, it has been subjected to various vertical movements and block faulting. The rift valleys of the Narmada, the Tapi and the Mahanadi and Satpura block mountains are some examples of it. The peninsula mostly consists of relict and decidual mountains like the Aravalli Hills, the Nallamala Hills, the Jabhadi Hills, the Velikonda Hills and Palkonda Range and the Mahendragiri Hills, etc. The river valleys here are shallow with low gradients. You are aware of the method of calculating the gradient as a part of your study of the book. Okay. Most of the east flowing rivers from deltas before entering into Bay of Bengal, the deltas formed by the Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri and Godavari are important examples. The Himalayas and the other peninsular mountains. The Himalayas, along with other peninsular mountains, are young, weak, and flexible in their geological structure, unlike the rigid and stable peninsular blocks. So, Himalayas is weak. Consequently, they are still subjected to the interplay of exogenic and endogenetic forces, resulting in the development of faults, folds, and thrust planes. These mountains are tectonic in origin, dissected by fast flowing rivers which are in their youthful stage. Various landforms like gorges, V-shaped valleys, rapids, waterfalls, etc. are indicative of this stage. Now, Indo-Ganga Brahmaputra plain, the third geo. So you can see that there is a dearth of information, important information, that is actually the question. Okay, based on such information, the questions will be asked in the competitive examination. However, it is a base book and you have to read this, so just read it so that you will know what information are given there, and if you able to remember all of them, definitely it will be helpful. In the Ganga Brahmaputra plain, the third geological division of India comprises the plains formed by the river Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Originally it was a geosynclinal depression which attained its maximum development during the third phase of the Himalayan mountain formation, approximately about 64 million years ago. So the third block, that is the plain in the Ganga Brahmaputra plain, it was formed during the third phase of the Himalayan upliftment around 64 million years ago. Since then, it has been gradually filled with the sediments brought by the Himalayan and peninsular rivers. Average depth of alluvial deposits in these plains ranges from 1000 to 2000 meters. So it also, remember this also, the average depth of alluvial deposit, not height, it is saying about the depth, that is the thickness of the sediment, is about 1000 to 2000 meters. You can imagine 2 kilometers. So it is evident from the above discussion that there are significant variations among the different regions of India in terms of their geological structure, which has far-reaching impact upon other related aspects. Variations in the physiography and relief are important among these. The relief and physiography of India has been greatly influenced by the geological and geomorphological processes active in the Indian subcontinent. Next, come to the physiography. So physiography of meaning of physiography. Physiography of an area is the outcome of structure, process and the stage. Davis का ये definition था of development. The land of India is characterized by great diversity in its physical features. The north has a vast expanse of rugged topography consisting of a series of mountain ranges with varied peaks, beautiful valleys and deep gorges. The south consists of stable land with highly dissected plateau, denuded rocks and developed series of scarps. In between these two lies the vast North Indian plain. Based on these macro variations, India can be divided into following physiographic divisions: the northern and the northeastern mountains, the northern plain, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, the islands. So actually this classification is being followed, okay, not the previous one, because that is too broad. So there are 6 divisions it has identified: the northern and northeastern mountains, the northern plain, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains and the islands. The north and northeastern mountains. The north and northeastern mountains consist of the Himalayas and the northeastern hills. The Himalayas consist of a series of parallel mountain ranges. Some of the important ranges are the Greater Himalayan Range, which includes the Great Himalayas and the Trans-Himalayan Range, the Middle Himalayas and so you can see that this map is hazy because of the PDF quality, I think. Okay, I said it is downloaded from this TIS because in NCERT website you can't download the entire book in form of one PDF. So I don't know why they consider this type of small technical things. Don't know, right, what they do and why they do so, because I need the entire book, not just a particular chapter. So sometimes it will be easier if I want to print it, then also it will be easier because I can send it just one PDF in one PDF. Don't know why don't they consider things to update, or I just don't know what their team do. Okay, let's move on. So I read, yes, the Himalayas consist of a series of parallel mountain ranges. Some of the important ranges are the Great Himalayan Range, which includes the Great Himalayas and the Trans-Himalayan Range, okay, and the Middle Himalayas and the Shivalik. The general orientation of these ranges is from northwest to the southeast direction in the northwestern part of India. Himalayas in the Darjeeling and Sikkim regions lie in an east-west direction, while in Arunachal Pradesh they are from southwest to the northwest direction. In Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram they are in the north-south direction. You can see the map if you draw the Himalaya. ओके गाइस सॉरी, तो हम कहाँ थे, यहाँ पर शिवालिक से स्टार्ट करते हैं. तो द जनरल ओरिएंटेशन ऑफ दिस रेंजेस इज फ्रॉम नॉर्थ वेस्ट टू द साउथ ईस्ट डायरेक्शन इन द नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. हिमालयज इन द दार्जिलिंग एंड सिक्किम regions lie in an east-west direction, while in Arunachal Pradesh they are from southwest to the northwest direction. In Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram they are in the north-south direction. The approximate length of the Great Himalayan Range, also known as the Central Axial Range, is 2,500 km from east to west, and their width varies between 160 to 400 km from north to south. Okay, so you can see their length is about 2,500 km from east to west, and their width is about 160 to 400 km from north to south. It is about Great Himalayas, talking about Great Himalayas. It is also evident from the map that the Himalayas stand almost like a strong and long wall between the Indian subcontinent and the Central and East Asian countries. Himalayas are not only the physical barrier, they are also a climatic, drainage and cultural divide. Can you identify the impact of Himalayas on the government of the countries of South Asia? अच्छा, इम्पैक्ट ऑफ, ये सोचने वाली बात है, यूपीएससी लेवल का क्वेश्चन है. कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ हिमालयज ऑन द जियो एनवायरनमेंट, सॉरी क्या कुछ और पढ़ लिया था क्या पहली बार, ऑफ द कंट्रीज ऑफ साउथ एशिया. जियो एनवायरनमेंट, गवर्नमेंट पढ़ लिया मैंने, आई थिंक. हाँ सॉरी. कैन यू आइडेंटिफाई द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ हिमालयज ऑन द जियो एनवायरनमेंट ऑफ द कंट्रीज of South Asia? Can you find some other examples of similar geo-environmental divide in the world? So Himalaya is considered here is being considered as a geo-environmental divide. Remember this term. There are large-scale regional variations within the Himalayas on the basis of relief alignment of ranges and other geomorphological features. The Himalayas can be divided into the following subdivisions. You can say see that Himalayas is further subdivided into Kashmir or northwestern Himalayas, Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas, Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas, Arunachal Himalayas, eastern hills and mountains. Now read this one by one. Kashmir or northwestern Himalayas, it comprises a series of ranges such as the Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar and Pir Panjal. The northeastern part of the Kashmir Himalayas is a cold desert which lies between the Greater Himalayas and the Karakoram ranges. It comprises a series of ranges such as the Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar and Pir Panjal. Okay, Kashmir Himalayas consist of, or Kashmir or northwestern Himalayas is comprised by which ranges? Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar and Pir Panjal. Remember, Kashmir Himalayas में है Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar and Pir Panjal. The northeastern part of the Kashmir Himalaya is a cold desert. The northeastern part of the Kashmir Himalaya is a cold desert which lies between the Greater Himalayas and the Karakoram ranges. Northeastern part of the Kashmir Himalaya is a cold desert है. लद्दाख की बात करें यहाँ पर. Between the Great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal range lies the world famous valley of Kashmir Valley. So Kashmir Valley lies between Great Himalayas and Pir Panjal. This remember, you should remember this कि Kashmir Valley lies between Great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal range. Great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal range, between these Kashmir Himalayas is located. Great Himalayas and Pir Panjal range. Okay, and the famous Dal Lake. ओके, सो कश्मीर यहीं पे इसी के बीच में है, ग्रेट हिमालयज एंड पीर पंजल के बीच में है फेमस डाल लेक लोकेटेड है. इंपॉर्टेंट ग्लेशियर ऑफ साउथ एशिया सच एज दी बाल्टरो एंड सियाचिन आर ऑल्सो फाउंड इन दिस रीजन. द कश्मीर हिमालयज आर ऑल्सो फेमस फॉर कारेबा फॉर्मेशन, राइट. सो the northeastern part of the Kashmir Himalaya is a cold desert which lies between the Greater Himalayas and the Karakoram range. Between the Great Himalayas and the Pir Panjal range lies the तो पीरपंजल रेंज, ये आज एक क्वेश्चन देखा था एक्चुअली मैंने, इसलिए मैंने रिपीट किया इसको कि एक क्वेश्चन था कि सियाचिन ग्लेशियर इज लोकेटेड इन व्हिच माउंटेन रेंज, तो ऐसा क्वेश्चन था। तो इसका आंसर आपको पता है तो कमेंट करके बताओ। द कश्मीर हिमालयज आर ऑल्सो फेमस फॉर कैरेबा फॉर्मेशन, तो कैरेबा फॉर्मेशन इज फाउंड इन कश्मीर हिमालयज। व्हाट इज कैरेबास? कैरेबास आर द थिक डिपॉजिट्स ऑफ ग्लेशियल क्ले एंड अदर मटेरियल्स एम्बेडेड विथ मोरेन्स, ओके, दैट इज कॉल्ड कैरेबास। सो ग्लेशियर डिपॉजिट इन द कश्मीर हिमालयज इज कॉल्ड कैरेबास। सो विच आर यूजफुल फॉर द कल्टिवेशन ऑफ जाफरान, यहाँ पर सबसे जाफरान जो है बहुत अच्छा कल्टिवेट किया जाता है कैरेबस मिट्टी में। ए लोकल वैरायटी ऑफ सैफ्रॉन, सो जाफरान क्या है? एक लोकल वैरायटी ऑफ सैफ्रॉन है। सम ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट पैसेज ऑफ द रीजन आर जोजिला ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल, फोटुला ऑन द जास्कर एंड खारदुंगला ऑन द लद्दाख रेंज। सो रिमेंबर दीज ऑल फोर कि जोजिला इज ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, जोजिला इज ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल, फोटुला ऑन द जास्कर एंड खारदुंगला ऑन द लद्दाख रेंज, खारदुंगला ऑन द लद्दाख रेंज। जोजिला ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल, जोजिला ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल, ओके। सो ZG जोजिला ऑन द ग्रेट हिमालय, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल BP, बानीहाल ऑन द पीरपंजल PP, ओके। फोटुला ऑन जास्कर, जो फोटुला ऑन जास्कर दैट इज PZ, ओके, PZ, फोटुला ऑन जास्कर PZ, फोटुला ऑन जास्कर एंड खारदुंगला ऑन लद्दाख रेंज, खारदुंगला KL, खारदुंगला ऑन लद्दाख रेंज, ओके। सो फोटुला इज ऑन जास्कर, खारदुंगला ऑन लद्दाख एंड बानीहाल ऑन पीरपंजल एंड जोजिला इज ऑन Great Himalayas, okay. Jojila is located on Great Himalayas, Banihal on the Pir-Panjal, Fotula is on Jaskar and Khardungla on the Ladakh range. Some of the important fresh lakes such as Dal and Ular and saltwater lakes such as Pangong, Sho and So Moridi are also in this region. This region is drained by the river Indus and its tributaries such as the Jhelum and Chenab. The Kashmir and Jhelum and Chenab river is located in the Great Himalayas. Kashmir Himalayas. The Kashmir and northwestern Himalayas are well known for their scenic beauty and picturesque landscape. The landscape of Himalayas is a major source of attraction for adventurous tourists. Definitely for scenic beauty we go there, right? Tourists go there. Now, do you know that some famous places of pilgrims such as Vaishno Devi, Amarnath Cave, Charar-e-Sharif, etc. are also located here and large number of pilgrims visit these places. So famous pilgrimage site হচ্ছে the Vaishno Devi, Amarnath Cave and Charar-e-Sharif all are located in Kashmir Himalaya. Vaishno Devi, Amarnath Cave, Charar-e-Sharif is located in Kashmir Himalaya. Srinagar, capital city of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, is located on the banks of Jhelum River, right? So Srinagar is located on the Jhelum River, on the banks of Jhelum River, and Dal Lake in Srinagar represents an interesting physical feature. Jhelum in the valley of Kashmir is still in its youth stage and it yet forms meanders. Okay, and yet to forms meander, a typical feature associated with the mature stage in the evolution of fluvial landform. Can you name some other fluvial landforms in the mature stage of river? These are some bogus questions. Leave it. Now here you can say Pamir Knot. So note this Pamir Knot location, right? Karakoram. Okay, so basically Karakoram is not originating from the Pamir Knot. Okay, so Karakoram and Jaskar के बीच में है लद्दाख. Okay, you can see then है पीरपंजल. So if they say कि arrange, so first होगा काराकोरम, then होगा लद्दाख, then जास्कर, then पीरपंजल. Okay, काराकोरम, लद्दाख, जास्कर, पीरपंजल. He remembers this sequence from north to south. काराकोरम, लद्दाख, जास्कर, पीरपंजल. काराकोरम, लद्दाख, जास्कर, पीरपंजल. I saw questions on this also. काराकोरम, लद्दाख, जास्कर, पीरपंजल. देखा मैप कितनी अच्छी है. मैप हो तो ऐसी हो ना, एटलस ऐसी बनना चाहिए. बेकार में वो सारी चीज़ें कोई काम का नहीं होती, इतना कलरफुल होता है बट एक्चुअली हमारा दिमाग में कुछ नहीं घुसता. इसीलिए स्टूडेंट्स जो है मैप पॉइंटिंग कर नहीं पाते. स्कूल में जब था मैंने तो कर नहीं पाता वो मैप देखकर, क्या समझ में नहीं आता कुछ. समझ लो, पता नहीं यार कैसे बनाते, कौन बनाता है, ये कौन सी मेथड फॉलो करते हैं. एनसीईआरटी बहुत अच्छा है ये देखो, बट मैं जब स्कूल में था बंगाली मीडियम था तो मेरे को ये पता ही नहीं था एनसीईआरटी के बारे में. अब चलो, एन इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट इन कश्मीर वैली द meanders in Jhelum river are caused by the local base level provided by the erstwhile large lake of which the present Dal Lake is a small part. तो ये झेलम रिवर जो है कश्मीर वैली में आपका मेंढर भी फॉर्म करता है, वही बोल रहा है। और इसका रीज़न क्या है, क्योंकि बिकॉज ऑफ द लोकल बेस लेवल, बिकॉज द झेलम रिवर इज इन द स्टिल इट इज इन इट्स यंग फेज बट स्टिल फॉर्म्स द meander and it is because of the local base level. The southernmost part of this region consists of longitudinal valleys known as dunes, right? Southernmost part of this region, Kashmir, Himalaya. Southernmost part of the region consists of longitudinal valleys known as dunes. Jammu Dune and Pathankot Dune are important examples. So Dune is very important. Dune, what are Dune? This is southernmost part of the Kashmir Himalaya. Southernmost part of the Kashmir Himalaya is known as dunes, and they are elongated valleys. Okay, long elongated valleys. Okay. Now the Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas. Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas. Okay, this part lies approximately between the Ravi and the in the west and the Kali, a tributary of Ghagra, in the east. So from Ravi river to Kali river, we got the Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalaya. It is drained by two major river systems of India, Indus and the Ganga. Okay, so the boundaries between the Ravi river and the Kali river, Ravi and Kali. So मैप में यहाँ पर देखा हमने, ये देखो रवि रिवर के देख लो, तो ये हो गया रवि रिवर, रवि से लेकर काली रिवर तक। काली रिवर कहाँ पर है, यहाँ पर दिया गया नहीं, गया क्या नहीं दिखाया गया, तो काली रिवर है कहीं पर, यहाँ पर हिमाचल जहाँ पर शेष होगा, हिमाचल प्रदेश वही होगा शायद, तो वहाँ तक हमारा हिमाचल और उत्तरांचल हिमालयज है। इट इज ड्रेन बाय टू मेजर रिवर सिस्टम्स ऑफ इंडिया, दैट इज इंडस एंड गंगा। ट्रिब्यूटरीज ऑफ इंडस इंक्लूड द रिवर रावी, ब्यास एंड सतलुज। ओके, ट्रिब्यूटरीज ऑफ इंडस include the Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Tributaries of Indus, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Ravi, Beas and Satluj falls in this region. Okay, I mean the Himachal and the Uttaranchal Himalayas. Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Okay, the tributaries of Ganga. So it is also rememberable कि the not all the tributaries but Ravi, Beas and Satluj falls in the Himachal Himalaya और Uttaranchal Himalayas. Okay. Next देखो, the northernmost part of the Himachal Himalaya is an extension of the Ladakh cold desert. Okay, northern part is an extension of the Ladakh cold desert which lies in the Spiti subdivision of district Lahul and Spiti. All the three ranges of Himalayas are prominent in this section also. These are the Great Himalayan Range, the Lesser Himalayas which is locally known as Dhaladhar in Himachal Pradesh and Nagtiba in Uttaranchal, and the Shivalik Range from the north to south. Okay, I did it again, just got distracted. Okay, the northernmost part of the Himachal Himalayas is an extension of the Ladakh cold desert. Okay, so extension of the northern part is a extension of the Ladakh cold desert which lies in the Spiti subdivision of district Lahul and Spiti subdivision में located है. All the three ranges of the Himalayas are prominent in this section. Okay, all the three we divided Himalayas into three parts from north to south, right? So Greater Himalaya, then Middle Himalaya, Lesser Himalaya. So all those three ranges are visible in this section. What is this section? That is the Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas. Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas in Spiti and Lahul डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो है वहाँ पर ये देखने को मिलता है. दीज आर ग्रेटर हिमालयन रेंज, द लेसर हिमालयन रेंज विच इज लोकली नोन एज धौलाधर इन हिमाचल प्रदेश. तो लेसर हिमालय और शिवालिक इज नोन एज धौलाधर, शिवालिक इज नोन एज धौलाधर इन हिमाचल प्रदेश एंड नागटिब्बा इन उत्तरांचल. सो रिमेंबर दिस नेम कि द लेसर हिमालयज इज नोन एज, लेसर हिमालयज को ही शिवालिक बोलते हैं. द लेसर हिमालयज इज नोन एज धौलाधर इन हिमाचल प्रदेश एंड नागटिब्बा इन उत्तरांचल. ओके, उत्तरांचल दैट इज प्रेजेंटली उत्तराखंड. आई डोंट नो व्हाट इट इज सेइंग उत्तरांचल स्टिल. You can, if you see the book, then it is written कि this is 2023 and 2022 and 2023 edition. कहाँ पर था वो, तो था यहाँ पर ये, या फिर ये पुराना बुक है पता नहीं. आई थिंक फिर ये ओल्ड वर्जन ही होंगे. बाय द वे आपको ये पता है, आई नो. तो ओके, कहाँ था हम यहाँ पर, तो हाँ, लेसर हिमालयज को हम हिमाचल प्रदेश में बोलते हैं धौलाधर एंड नागटिब्बा बोलते हैं कहाँ पर, उत्तरांचल या उत्तराखंड में. एंड द शिवालिक रेंज फ्रॉम द नॉर्थ टू द साउथ. अच्छा, ग्रेटर हिमालय को मैंने मिडिल हिमालय बोल देता हूँ भैया। तो लेसर हिमालय, ग्रेटर हिमालय और शिवालिक हिमालय, तो इन तीनों हिस्सों में हम नॉर्थ टू साउथ डिवाइड किया था। इस तीनों भाग में ग्रेटर हिमालयज, लेसर हिमालयज एंड शिवालिक हिमालय, नॉट मिडिल। बट मिडिल भी तो बोला जाता है, पता नहीं यार। शिवालिक रेंज फ्रॉम द नॉर्थ टू द साउथ, ओके, फ्रॉम नॉर्थ टू द साउथ, मतलब ग्रेटर हिमालयन रेंज, द लेसर हिमालयज एंड दी हिमालयज को डिवाइड कर रहे हैं नॉर्थ टू साउथ, ग्रेटर हिमालय, लेसर हिमालय एंड हिमाचल हिमालय। लेसर हिमालय को हिमाचल प्रदेश में आपका बोला जाता है धौलाधर, एंड उत्तरांचल या उत्तराखंड में बोला जाता है नागटिब्बा। In this section of lower Himalaya, the altitude between 1000 to 2000 meter especially attracted to the British colonial administration, and subsequently some of the important hill stations such as Dharmashala, Mussoorie, Simla, Kausani, and the cantonment towns and health resorts such as Simla, Mussoorie, Kasauli, Almora, Lansdowne, and Ranikhet, etc. developed in this region. The two distinguishing features of this region from the point of view of physiography are the Shivalik and Dune formations. Some important dunes located in this region are the, so here it is the classification given: Himalayan mountain complex, cross sectional view of north, south to north. So see, this is the south, so this is Sindhu Ganga plain, then Shivalik और outer Himalayas, then mid Himalayas, then greater Himalayas। ये देखो, यही मैंने बोल रहा था कि शिवालिक को लेसर हिमालयज बोला जाता है ना, फिर यहाँ पर क्यों लिख दिया पता नहीं कि ग्रेटर हिमालय, लेसर हिमालय, शिवालिक हिमालय। हम इसको मिडिल हिमालय बोलते हैं, फिर ग्रेटर हिमालय बोलते हैं, और हिमालय के इधर जो है वो ट्रांस हिमालय बोला जाता है। देन आता है लद्दाख रेंज, देन ब्रह्मपुत्र वैली, देन कैलाश रेंज, देन तिब्बत प्लेटू एंड कुनलुन स्लोप। तो ये सारी चीज़ें हैं। अब देखो द शिवालिक, द वर्ड शिवालिक हैज इट्स ओरिजिन इन द जियोलॉजिकल फॉर्मेशन फाउंड इन एंड अराउंड ए प्लेस कॉल्ड शिवाबाला नियर देहरादून, which was once a headquarter of the Imperial Survey and which subsequently established its permanent headquarters at Dehradun. The Shivalik came from the place name Shivabala, ओके, ये देहरादून के पास लोकेटेड है। ठीक है, तो हम कहाँ पर पढ़ रहे थे, ये देखो द टू डिस्टिंग्विशिंग फीचर। हाँ, तो दून और शिवालिक जो है टू डिस्टिंग्विशिंग फीचर है। सम इंपॉर्टेंट दून्स लोकेटेड इन दिस रीजन आर दिस, दून्स के एग्जांपल है चंडीगढ़ कालका दून, नालगार दून, देहरादून, हरिके दून एंड कोटा दून, okay, etc. Dehradun is the largest of all the dunes, and we all know this name, right? Dehradun is the largest dune, you can say, you should remember कि Dehradun is the largest dune, and it's the largest of all the dunes with an approximate length of 35 to 45 किलोमीटर and a width of 22 to 25 किलोमीटर। तो यहाँ पर लेंथ जो है 25 और width जो है बहुत छोटा है, ठीक है, एज कम्पेयर टू दी इन द ग्रेटर हिमालयज, ओके। सो दून जो है देहरादून, लेंथ इज 35 to 45 किलोमीटर, विथ 22 to 25 किलोमीटर। इन द ग्रेट हिमालयन रेंज द वैलीज आर मोस्टली इनहेबिटेड बाय द भूटियाज, ओके, रिमेंबर दिस टू, क्योंकि EMS type exam they will can ask anything, right, and in detail, so you should remember this Bhutiyaj. In the greater Himalayan range, the valleys are mostly inhabited by the Bhutiyaj. In the greater Himalayan range, because this is a subdivision of greater Himalayan range, you know, we are studying that. So in the greater Himalayan range, the valleys are inhabited by the Bhutia community people. These are nomadic groups who migrate to Bughyals in summer grassland in the higher reaches. Bughyals कहा जाता है. So what is Bughyals? Okay, this is an important term. What is Bughyals? The summer grassland in higher reaches. Summer grasslands in higher reaches. Those are called Bughyals during summer months and return to the valleys during winters. The famous Valley of Flowers is also situated in this region. Okay, so this is Uttaranchal this is the Himachal or Uttaranchal Himalayas. Yes, the Himachal or Uttaranchal, the Valley of Flowers is situated in the Uttaranchal or Himachal Himalayas, Himachal or Uttaranchal Himalayas. Okay, now the places of pilgrimage such as the Gangotri, Jamunotri, Kedarnath, Badrinath and Hemkund Sahib are also situated in this part. Okay, so Kedarnath, Badrinath, Yamunotri, Gangotri, Hemkund Sahib all are located in the Himachal or the I am forgetting again the Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas. Okay, Himachal and Uttaranchal Himalayas. Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So Himachal and Uttarakhand, Uttaranchal Himalayas. Okay, the region is also known to have 5 famous Prayags river confluences. So this is very important. What are the confluences? You should read it differently. Prayags, about the Prayags or river confluences as mentioned in chapter 3 of this book. Okay, chapter 3 में already है. Can you name some other famous Prayags in the parts of the country? Okay, other Prayags, about asking about other Prayags in the country. So you can search it. Okay, these things are very important. This is a good, I will say good. This type of questions are good, so I should search it. Okay, keep famous Prayags in the other parts of the country. Okay, it will be difficult definitely to get such answers, and that's the reason when we are consulting a book, because it's the duty of the teacher to make it interesting. But when you are reading this book, I think this type of information should be given in situ of the book, so that I need not to search anywhere else. However, the Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas, they are flanked by Nepal Himalayas in the west and Bhutan Himalayas in the east. It is relatively small, but it is a most significant part of the Himalayas. Okay, Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas में हम आ गए हैं. Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas, they are flanked by Nepal Himalayas in the west and Bhutan Himalayas in the east. It is relatively small, but is a most significant part of the Himalayas, known for its fast flowing rivers such as Tista. Okay, so this river is known for its river Tista. Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas, it is a region of high mountain peaks like Kanchenjunga and deep valleys. Okay, the higher reaches of this region are inhabited by Lepcha tribes. Okay, higher region here Lepcha tribes are located. The higher reaches of this region are inhabited by Lepcha tribes, while the southern part, particularly Darjeeling Himalayas, has a mixed population of Nepalese, Bengalis and tribals from central India. The British, taking advantage of the physical conditions such as moderate slope, thick soil cover with high organic content, well distributed rainfall throughout the year, and mild winters, introduced tea plantations in this region. So Himachal Himalayas में हम पाए थे Bhotia people, and in the Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas we are getting basically the Lepcha people. Okay, so remember this. And the British, taking advantage of the physical conditions such as moderate slope, thick soil cover with high organic content, well distributed rainfall throughout the year, and mild winters, introduced tea plantations in this region. As compared to the other sections of the Himalayas, these along with the Arunachal Himalayas are conspicuous by the absence of the Shivalik formations. In place of the Shivaliks here, the Dwarf formations are important. So what is Dwarf formation? Don't know. Which have also been used for the development of tea gardens. Sikkim and Darjeeling Himalayas are also known for their scenic beauty and rich flora and fauna, particularly various types of orchids. So ये Dwarf formation, what is Dwarf formation? You should search it. What is Dwarf formations? Okay, the Arunachal Himalayas, these extend from the east of the Bhutan Himalayas up to the Difu Pass in the east. Arunachal Himalayas, these extend from the east of the Bhutan Himalayas up to the Difu Pass in the east. The general direction of the mountain ranges from southwest to northeast. Some of the important mountain peaks of the region are Kangtu and Namcha Barwa. These ranges are dissected by fast flowing rivers from the north to the south, forming deep gorges. Brahmaputra Valley flows through a deep gorge after crossing Namcha Barwa. Some of the important rivers are the Kameng, the Subansiri, the Dihong, the Dibang and the Lohit. These are perennial with high rate of fall, thus having the highest hydroelectric power potential in the country. An important aspect of Arunachal Himalaya is the numerous ethnic tribe community inhabiting in these areas. Some of the prominent ones from west to east are the Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, Nisi and the Nagas. So remember this sequence. This is UPSC level question. Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, Nisi and the Nagas from west to east side. Okay, Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi. Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi. So here it is said that an important aspect of the Arunachal Himalayas is the numerous ethnic tribal community inhabiting in these areas. Some of the prominent ones from west to east are Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, Nisi and the Nagas. Remember this sequence: Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Misi. So MDAMNN. Okay, then you can say मैडम, राइट, MA, बट MA का कुछ नहीं है. सो MADAM, Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, and then NN. NN. Then Nisi and Nagaj. Nisi and Nagaj. Nisi and Nagaj. However, it is not very good mnemonic. If you have anything else, you can comment below. मनपा डफला एबर मिसमी निसी एंड नागा, जैसे याद रखना पड़ेगा मनपा डाफला एबर मिसमी निसी एंड नागा, निसी एंड नागा, मनपा डाफला एबर मिसी मनपा डाफला एबर मिसमी निसी एंड नागाज. दीज आर द कम्युनिटी. मनपा डाफला एबर मिसमी निसी and Nagas. Monpa, Dafla, Aber, Mismi, Nisi and Nagas. Most of these communities practice jhuming. It is also known as shifting or slash and burn cultivation. This region is rich in biodiversity which has been preserved by the indigenous communities. Due to rugged topography, the inter-valley transportation linkages are nominal. Hence, most of the interactions are carried through the Duar region. So, what was Duar region? We just here read. We read it. Duar region is origin that. Yes, in place of Shivalik here, the Duar formations are important, right? In place of the Shivalik here, Duar formations are important, which have that is talking about the talking about Darjeeling and Sikkim Himalayas. Now, Arunachal Himalayas में भी Duar formation है, right? So the major transportation linkages are nominal. Okay, due to rugged topography, the inter-valley transportation linkages are nominal. Hence, most of the interactions are carried through the Duar region along with the Arunachal Assam border. Okay, तो अरुणाचल असम बॉर्डर में दुआर रीजन है जहाँ से. ओके, और दुआर रीजन, रिमेंबर दिस टर्म. इफ वी गेट इट लेटर विल क्लैरिफाई मोर. Then the eastern hills and the mountains, these are part of the Himalayan mountain system having their general alignment from the north to south direction. Now you can see this map. You can see that Himalaya is bending like that. It's coming from here, then it's bending like this. Okay, so this is the talking about this is okay. कैन सी दिस बमडिला इतना अच्छे से दिखाया गया है. देखो जलेपला कहाँ पर है, भूटान और सिक्किम बोल सकते हैं. यहाँ पर क्या है ये, ओके जलेपला है यहाँ पर, देन बमला यहाँ पर है. ऐसे करके मैप बहुत अच्छी है, कितना क्लियर है. ऐसा मैप होना चाहिए, ठीक है. बेकार में एटलस में कोई काम का नहीं होती वो मैप, ठीक है. Okay, the eastern hills and mountains. These are part of Himalayan mountain system having their general alignment from the north to the south direction. Talking about this bend, and they are known by different local names. So this is very important. In the north, they are known as Patkai Bumps, Naga Hills, the Manipur Hills, and in the south as Mizo or Lusai Hills. These are low hills inhabited by numerous tribal groups practicing jhum cultivation. Most of the ranges are separated from each other by numerous small rivers. The Barak is an important river in Manipur and Mizoram. So Barak river, it is very important river, but located in Manipur and Mizoram. Remember this Barak river. The physiography of Manipur is unique by the presence of a large lake known as Loktak Lake. So Loktak Lake is located in Manipur at the center, surrounded by mountains from all sides. Mizoram, which is also known as the molasses basin. So Mizoram is also known as molasses basin, which is made up of soft unconsolidated deposits. Most of the rivers in Nagaland form the tributary of Brahmaputra. While two rivers of Mizoram and Manipur are the tributaries of the Barak river. So tributaries of Barak river, which in turn is the tributary of Meghna. The rivers in the eastern part of the Manipur are the tributaries of Chinduin, which in turn is a tributary of the Hirabari of Myanmar. So intricate, tough. This is tough thing. You should remember Barak river is located in Manipur, then Loktak is Manipur and Mizoram में located Barak river is Manipur and Mizoram में located है. Loktak lake जो है मणिपुर में है, and Mizoram is also known as molasses basin, which is made up of soft unconsolidated deposit, and most of the rivers in Nagaland form the tributary of the Brahmaputra, and while the two rivers of Mizoram and Manipur are the tributaries of the Barak river, which in turn the tributary of Meghna. Which in turn means the Barak river is a tributary of Meghna, like that. The rivers in the eastern part of Manipur are the tributaries of Chinduin, which in turn is the tributary of the Irrawaddy of Myanmar. By the way, leave it. So this is the thing, and here it ends the Himalayas subdivision or physiographic division of the Himalayas. Okay, because we divided the Himalayas into further 4 subdivisions I think. yes, ये देखो 5 है. कश्मीर और नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न हिमालयज, हिमाचल और उत्तरांचल हिमालय, दार्जिलिंग एंड सिक्किम हिमालय, अरुणाचल हिमालय, ईस्टर्न हिल्स एंड माउंटेन. so we have completed these all 5 subdivisions of the Himalayas physiography. now northern plains. The northern plains are formed by the alluvial deposits brought by the rivers, the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. These plains extend approximately 3200 km from the east to the west. The average width of these plains varies between 150 to 300 km. The maximum depth of alluvium deposits varies between 1000 to 2000 meter. From the north to the south, these can be divided into 3 major zones: the Bhabar, the Tarai and the alluvial plains. So remember this, from the north to the south, these can be divided into, from north to south we are dividing it into Bhabar, Tarai and alluvial plains. So first is alluvial plain, then आता है भाबर, then आता है then आता है तराई, then आता है भाबर. So भाबर is not infertile. okay, the alluvial plains can be further divided into the Khadar and the Bhangar. Khadar and the Bhangar, alluvial plains is also divided into the Khadar and the Bhangar. और ऐसे तो नॉर्थ टू साउथ हम क्या डिवाइड करते हैं, नॉर्थ टू साउथ भाबर, देन तराई, देन alluvial plain, और इसे हम भांगर भी बोलते हैं. भांगर बोलते क्या, ठीक है, देखते आगे जाकर. भाबर, तराई एंड alluvial plains. okay, and also divided into Khadar and Bhangar. Bhabar is a narrow belt ranging between 8 to 10 km parallel to the Shivalik foothills at the breakup of the slope. As a result of this, the streams and rivers coming from the mountains deposit heavy metals of rocks and boulders and at the times disappear in this zone. South of Bhabar is the Tarai belt. So Tarai belt with an approximate width of 10 to 20 km, where most of the streams and rivers re-emerge without having any properly demarcated channel, thereby creating marshy and swampy conditions known as the Tarai. This has a luxurious growth of natural vegetation and houses a varied way life. The south of Tarai is belt consisting of old and new alluvial deposits known as the Bhangar and Khadar. So respectively, old alluvial is called Bhangar and new alluvial is called Khadar. These plains have characteristic features of mature stage of fluvial erosion and depositional landforms such as sandbars, meanders, oxbow lakes and braided channels. The Brahmaputra plains are known for their riverine islands and sandbars. Most of these areas are subjected to periodic floods and shifting river courses forming braided streams. The mouths of these mighty rivers also form some of the largest deltas of the world. For example, the famous Sundarban Delta. Otherwise, this is a featureless plain with a general elevation of 50 to 100 meter above the mean sea level. The states of Haryana and Delhi form a water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river system. The states of Haryana and Delhi. So remember this, Haryana and Delhi forms the water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river system. Haryana and Delhi is located at the water divide of the Indus and Ganga river system. As opposed to this, the Brahmaputra river flows from the north to east to the southwest direction before it takes an plateau and almost 90 degree southward turn at Dhubri. So Brahmaputra river take turns at 90 degree at Dhubri. Remember this name before it enters into Bangladesh. These river valley plains have a fertile alluvial soil cover which supports a variety of crops like wheat, rice, sugarcane and jute, and hence supports a large population. Now next division that is the peninsular plateau. Rising from the height of 150 meter above the river plains up to an elevation of 600 to 900 meter is the irregular triangle known as the peninsular plateau. Delhi region in the northwest, extension of Parabolige and the Rajmahal Hills in the east, Gir Range in the west and the Cardamom Hills in the south constitute the outer extent of the peninsular plateau. However, an extension of this is also seen in the northeast in the form of Shillong and Karbi Anglong Plateau. The peninsular India is made up of a series of patland plateaus such as Hazaribagh Plateau, the Palamu Plateau, the Ranchi Plateau, the Malwa Plateau, the Coimbatore Plateau and the Karnataka Plateau, etc. This is one of the oldest and the most stable landmass of India. So Peninsular Plateau is the oldest and the most stable physiographic division of India, right? The general elevation of the plateau is from the west to east, which is also proved by the pattern of the flow of the rivers. Name some rivers of the Peninsular Plateau which have their confluence in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea, and mention some landforms which are typical to the east flowing rivers but are absent in the west flowing rivers. There is definitely delta. Some of the important physiographic features of this region are torts, block mountains, rift valleys, bars, bare rocky structures, series of hummocky hills, and wall-like quartzite dikes offering natural sites for water storage. The western and northwestern part of the plateau has an emphatic presence of black soil. This peninsular plateau has undergone recurrent phases of upliftment and submergence accompanied by crustal faulting and fractures. The Bhima fault needs special mention because of its recurrent seismic activity. So Bhima fault, so remember this name. Bhima fault is located in where? A peninsular plateau has undergone recurrent phase of upliftment submergence. Bhima fault exactly कौन सी स्टेट पे लोकेटेड है इसको देखना पड़ेगा. भीमा फॉल्ट, ठीक है. These spatial variations have brought in elements of diversity in the relief of the peninsular plateau. The northwestern part of the plateau has a complex relief of ravines and gorges. So the ravines of Chambal, Bhind and Morina are some of the well-known examples. Ravines of Chambal, Bhind and Morina. On the basis of the prominent relief features, the peninsular plateau can be divided into again three groups, that is Deccan Plateau, Central Highland and Northeastern Plateau. Deccan Plateau, Central Highland and Northeastern Plateau. Now we have to read one by one. Okay friends, so स्टार्ट करते हैं डेकान प्लेटो से. तो आज इसी चैप्टर में ख़त्म करेंगे इस वीडियो को, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी वीडियो 1 आवर का हो गया है और ज़्यादा कंटिन्यू करना मेरे लिए अपलोड करने में दिक्कत हो जाएगा. ओके, द डेक्कन प्लेटो. दिस इज बॉर्डर्ड बाय द वेस्टर्न घाट्स इन द वेस्ट, ईस्टर्न घाट्स इन द ईस्ट एंड द सातपुरा, माइकल रेंज एंड महादेव हिल्स इन द नॉर्थ. Western Ghats are locally known by different names such as Sahyadri in Maharashtra, Nilgiri Hills in Karnataka. तो ये देखो सारे वेस्टर्न घाट्स का ही नाम, वेस्टर्न घाट्स का ही नाम है, ठीक है. लोकल नेम. सह्याद्री कहाँ पर? महाराष्ट्र में है. नीलगिरी कहाँ बोला जाता है? कर्नाटक में. एंड तमिलनाडु एंड अनाईमलाई हिल्स एंड कार्डामम हिल्स इन केरला में बोला जाता है. ओके, नीलगिरी हिल्स कर्नाटक एंड तमिलनाडु में बोला जाता है. अनाईमलाई हिल्स एंड कार्डामम हिल्स केरला में बोला जाता है वेस्टर्न घाट्स को. फिर से एक बार पढ़ो. वेस्टर्न घाट्स आर लोकली नोन बाय डिफरेंट नेम्स सच एज सह्याद्री इन महाराष्ट्र, नीलगिरी हिल्स इन कर्नाटक एंड तमिलनाडु एंड अनाईमलाई हिल्स एंड कार्डामम हिल्स in Kerala. Western Ghats are comparatively higher in elevation and more continuous than the Eastern Ghats. Their average elevation is about 1500 meter with the height increasing from north to south. Anaimudi, the highest peak of peninsular plateau, that is Anaimudi, located on the Anaimalai hills of the Western Ghats, followed by Doda Beta on the Nilgiri hills. Most of the peninsular rivers have their origin in the Western Ghats. Eastern Ghats, comprising the discontinuous and low hills, are highly eroded by the rivers such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, the Kaveri, etc. Some of the important ranges include the Javadi hills, the Palkonda range, the Nallamala hills, the Mahendragiri hills, etc. The eastern and the western Ghats meet each other at the Nilgiri hills. Now the central highlands. They are bounded to the west by the Aravalli range. The Satpura range is formed by a series of scarped plateaus on the south, generally at an elevation varying between 600 to 900 meter above the mean sea level. This forms the northernmost boundary of the Deccan Plateau. It is a classic example of the relict mountains which are highly denuded and form discontinuous ranges. The extension of the peninsular plateau can be seen as far as Jaisalmer in the west, where it has been covered by the longitudinal sand ridges and crescent-shaped sand dunes called barkhans. This region has undergone metamorphic processes in its geological history, which can be corroborated by the presence of metamorphic rocks such as marble, slate, gneiss, etc. The general elevation of the central highlands ranges between 700 to 1000 meter above the mean sea level, and it slopes towards the north and northeastern directions. Most of the tributaries of the river Jamuna have their origin in the Vindhyan and Kaimur ranges. Banas is the only significant tributary of the river Chambal that originates from the Aravalli in the west. An eastern extension of the central highland is formed by the Rajmahal hills, to the south of which lies a large reserve of mineral resources in the Chotanagpur plateau. The northeastern plateau. In fact, it is an extension of the main peninsular plateau. It is believed that due to the force exerted by the northeastward movement of the Indian plate at that time of Himalayan origin, a huge fault was created between the Rajmahal Hills and the Meghalaya Plateau. Later, this depression got filled up by the deposition activity of the numerous rivers today. Today, the Meghalaya and Karbi Anglong Plateau stand detached from the main peninsular block. The Meghalaya Plateau is further subdivided into three: the Garo Hills, the Khasi Hills, the Jaintia Hills, named after the tribal groups inhabiting this region. An extension of this is also seen in the Karbi Anglong Hills of Assam. Similar to the Chhotanagpur Plateau, the Meghalaya Plateau is also rich in mineral resources like coal, iron ore, sillimanite, limestone, and uranium. This area receives maximum rainfall from the southwest monsoon. As a result, the Meghalaya Plateau has a highly eroded surface. Cherrapunji displays a bare rocky surface devoid of any permanent vegetation cover. तो इतना बारिश होने के बावजूद भी कोई क्या है, वेजिटेशन कवर नहीं है. एंड द सोल रीजन इज बिकॉज ऑफ इरोशन. हाई प्रेसिपिटेशन इज इक्वल टू हाई इरोशन हियर. ओके, not precipitation, just I will say rainfall rather. The Indian desert, next division of our Indian physiography, that is the Indian desert. To the northwest of the Aravalli Hills lies the Great Indian Desert. It is a land of undulating topography dotted with longitudinal dunes and barkans. This region receives low rainfall below 150 meter per year, hence it has arid climate with low vegetation cover. It is because of these characteristic features that this is also known as Marusthali. It is believed that during the Mesozoic era, this region was under the sea. So it is believed that the Thar desert or Rajasthan desert was under the sea during Mesozoic era. So this important is very important. This information is very important. That is during which time? Mesozoic era. During which era? In which era this region was under sea? That is the Mesozoic era. This can be corroborated by the evidence available at Wood Fossil Park at Akal and marine deposits around Brahmsar near Jaisalmer. The approximate age of the wood fossil is estimated to be 180 million years. Though the underlying rock structure of the desert is an extension of the peninsular plateau, yet due to extreme arid conditions, its surface features have been carved by physical weathering and wind actions. Some of the well-pronounced desert land features present here are mushroom rocks, shifting dunes, and oases, mostly in its southern part. On the basis of the orientation, the desert can be divided into two parts. The northern part is sloping towards Sindh and the southern towards the Rann of Kutch. Most of the rivers in this region are ephemeral. The Luni River flowing in the southern part of the desert is of some significance. Low precipitation and high evaporation makes it a water deficit region. There are some streams which disappear after flowing for some distance and present a typical case of inland drainage by joining a lake or playa. The lakes and the playas have brackish water, which is the main source of obtaining salt. Now the next division, that is the coastal plains. You have already read that India has a long coastline. On the basis of the location and active geomorphological processes, it can be broadly divided into two: the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. The western coastal plains are an example of submerged coastal plain. It is believed that the city of Dwarka, which was once a part of the Indian mainland situated along the west coast, is submerged under water. Because of this submergence, it is a narrow belt and provides natural conditions for the development of ports and harbors. Kandala, Majagaon, JLN Port, Navaseva, Marmagaon, Mangalore, Cochin, etc. are some of the important natural ports located along the west coast. Extending from the Gujarat coast in the north or to the Kerala coast in the south, the western coast may be divided into following divisions: the Kutch and Kathiawar coast in Gujarat, Konkan coast in Maharashtra, Kutch and Kathiawar coast in Gujarat, Konkan coast in Maharashtra, Goa coast and Malabar coast in Karnataka and Kerala respectively. Goa coast in Karnataka and not Goa coast, Goan coast in Karnataka and Malabar coast in Kerala. The western coastal plains are narrow in the middle and get broader towards north and south. The rivers flowing through this coastal plain do not form any delta. The Malabar coast has got certain distinguishing features in the form of cayals. So cayals is located in Malabar coast or Kerala. Malabar coast is located in Kerala. Okay, here it just read, yes, this one, Goan coast and Malabar coast in Karnataka and Kerala respectively, so which are used for fishing, inland navigation, and also due to its special attraction for tourists. Every year the famous Nehru Trophy Ballamkali boat race is held in Punnamada Kayal in Kerala. So ये एक गेम टाइप का है, नेहरू ट्रॉफी Ballamkali boat race is held in Punnamada Kayal in Kerala. As compared to the western coastal plain, the eastern coastal plain is broader and is an example of an emergent coast. There are well-developed deltas here formed by the rivers flowing eastward into the Bay of Bengal. These include the deltas of the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. Because of its emergent nature, it has less number of ports and harbors. The continental shelf extends up to 500 km into the sea, which makes it difficult for the development of good ports and harbors. Name some ports on the eastern coast. Okay. So as compared to western coastal plain, I am reading it again. As compared to the western coastal plain, the eastern coastal plain is broader and is an example of an emergent coast. So emergent coast is the eastern coast. There are well-developed deltas here formed by the rivers flowing eastward into the Bay of Bengal. These include the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. Because of its emergent nature, it has less number of ports and harbors. The continental shelf extends up to 500 km into the sea, which makes it difficult for the development of good ports and harbors. Name some ports on the eastern coast. Okay. The islands. There are two major island groups in India, one in the Bay of Bengal and other in the Arabian Sea. The Bay of Bengal island groups consist of about 572 islands or islets. These are situated roughly between 6 degree north to 14 degree north and 92 degree east and 94 degree east. Okay, so 6 to 14 degree north and 92 to 94 degree east longitude. The two principal groups of islets include the Riches archipelago and the Labyrinth Island. ओ माय गॉड, ये तो कभी नहीं सुना मैंने. रिचीज आर्किपेलागो एंड द लैबिरिंथ आइलैंड, क्या है ये नाम है. द इंटर ग्रुप ऑफ आइलैंड इज डिवाइडेड इनटू टू ब्रॉड कैटेगरीज, द अंडमान इन द नॉर्थ एंड द निकोबार इन द साउथ. They are separated by a water body which is called the 10-degree channel. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. However, some smaller islands are volcanic in origin. Barren Island, the only active volcano in India, is also situated in the Nicobar Island. So, Barren Island is situated in the Nicobar Island. Remember it, not in Andaman. Barren Island is located in Nicobar Island. Some important mountain peaks in Andaman and Nicobar Islands are Saddle Peak, Mount Diabolo, Mount Koyob, and Mount Thuliar. The coastal line has some coral deposits and beautiful beaches. These islands receive convectional rainfall and have an equatorial type of vegetation. The islands of the Arabian Sea include Lakshadweep and Minicoy. These are scattered between 8 degree to 12 degree north and 71 to 74 degree east longitude. These islands are located at a distance of 280 km to 480 km of the Kerala coast. So कितना continental shelf is very less, right? Here you can see the continental shelf was, oh sorry, not continental, we are talking about the islands, right? Yes, sorry. Okay, so the distance, the islands are located at a distance of 280 km to 480 km of the Kerala. I mean, yes, from Kerala to Lakshadweep, it is distance is about 480 km. The entire island group is built of coral deposits. There are approximately, so Lakshadweep is a coral island. Okay, Lakshadweep is a coral island. Remember this, there are approximately 36 islands and Andaman Nicobar में 572 islands, of which 11 are inhabited. That means not habited, no man is there. Minicoy is the largest island with an area of 453 square kilometer. Minicoy is the largest island in Lakshadweep Island, and the entire group of islands is broadly divided by the 11th degree channel. So Andaman and Nicobar is divided by 10 degree channel, and Lakshadweep is divided by 11 degree channel, north of which is the Amini Island, and the south of through the south of the Kannur Island. Okay, so Lakshadweep divided into Amini and Kannur. They divided by 11th degree channel. The island of this archipelago have storm beaches consisting of unconsolidated pebbles, shingles, cobbles, and boulders on the eastern seaboard. So here we have completed the two chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. सो आई होप आपको कुछ चीज़ें नया कुछ जानने को मिले होगा, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि आपने कभी पढ़ा नहीं हो या फिर इतना डिटेल से पढ़े नहीं हो, आई मीन लाइन बाय लाइन। तो अगर आप ध्यान से सुने हो, चीज़ों के साथ साथ नोटिस भी किए हो लाइंस को, ठीक है, तो फिर आपको ये सारी चीज़ें जो है, आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन आपकी कान में जाकर बिनेगा, जो कि लगेगा कि हाँ ये इम्पोर्टेंट है, ठीक है। तो आई होप ऐसा इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको मिला होगा। मेरे को तो बहुत कुछ मिला, अब कितना याद रहेगा वो तो मेरे को नहीं पता, बट अगर आपको क्या है कि जो चीज़ें आपको इंटरेस्टिंग लगा या फिर लग रहा है कि हाँ ये जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, तो डेफिनेटली आप उसे कमेंट में बता सकते हो। थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स, इस वीडियो को इसी में स्टॉप करेंगे और हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो से कंटिन्यू करेंगे, ठीक है। पता नहीं कितने वीडियोज़ होंगे, बट डेफिनेटली आई विल कंप्लीट इट द एंटायर बुक। थैंक यू।